Good morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time you may be listening to this. I hope all is well in your world. And speaking of worlds, we're going to be talking about a little world called Antarctica. I hope you enjoy. Now, Antarctica is a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a long time now. There's been a lot of interesting things going on down there that are very suspicious, to say nonetheless. Now, what these claims are is that it starts back in 1947 with Admiral Byrd, who came down there looking for the Nazis after World War II and finding the base in New Schwabenland. And while there, he discovers a hole in Antarctica, and he found a whole new vast world of untouched snow in this area. It was like a tropical land, untouched by the snow and the cold. It was very comfortable weather, and when he first got there, he was attacked by these flying discs, as he describes them as. And then later on, he brings a fleet back with him to come after these, these aircrafts that they were thinking possibly could be Nazis. And when he did come, they gave him more of a welcoming come. And so they brought him in, and he describes talking about these beings that were down there that existed. And they were living up to, like, the main being that was there. He lived to be around over 150,000 years old at that time. And afterwards, he was told that the nuclear bombs needed to be stopped being used. And he gave many warnings about things that were to come or that happened if we did not stop. And he was to take this information and bring it back to America and address the military about it. And once that happened, that's when the major interest in it of Antarctica began, with the military-industrial complex. Since the military-industrial complex took their first steps on Antarctica back in 1947, access to these supposed frozen wastelands is reserved for a selected few individuals. Okay, before we start off talking about Admiral Byrd and Adolf Hitler and just plain World War II and the Nazis when all this started, I would like to first talk about some of the interesting individuals that have been showing up randomly just here within the last 3, maybe 4 years, and going there for strange reasons and whatnot, and during strange times. Like, for example, John Kerry, during he went to Antarctica during February 19th of 2016. Now, during this time, this is when we're having our presidential election. He's a Democrat. You would think he would be there with Hillary at the time, supporting her on it. But in the middle of all this, whenever, they're going against Trump, you would think the support would want to be there. He up and leaves America and goes straight to Antarctica. And now on top of that, we have religious leaders as well that have gone down there. for instance, his name is, it's, Patriarch, Kirill, I'm sorry if I butchered that. He is the first Orthodox leader from the church to visit Antarctica. And what was really strange is that a week prior to the Patriarch coming down to Antarctica to their church, is that he met up with the Pope before he went, 1 week prior to him going to Antarctica. Now, did the Pope instruct him to go down? Is there more going on? I mean, there's a lot of very strange things going on in Antarctica that are pretty vague in my eyes, because no, I'm not going to say vague. I'm going to say more BS answers. You know, they're either beating around a bush, or it's a cop-out on reasonings. You have Buzz Aldrin that came over to Antarctica, and when he left there, he had to leave in a hurry due to some kind of mysterious illness, unknown. I believe it might have been heart condition or something, but it never really was specified. And supposedly, before he did leave, he put up on, I believe it was Instagram or something, that he put up a picture of a pyramid, of one of the pyramids that were found in Antarctica, and he puts on there, they're up to no good, or they're evil people down here, they're up to no good, something along those lines. Now, take that as you will, whether that is something that is legit that's going on, that he really did post that, or if someone just was doing some kind of hoax or something along those lines to start some rumors. Who knows on that behalf. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to be able to cover every single piece of evidence that there is for Antarctica and what's going on, because I could spend an entire video talking about one specific area of Antarctica, and I can make it a whole clip full. So, but anyway, moving on. Next, some of the other odd things that was found out was, let's see here, I think it was back in 2012 or so, there were, 8 scientists that went to Antarctica, and when they came back, only 5 of them returned, and 3 were missing. And apparently, and this is what's really strange, I haven't noticed anyone bringing this point up, but the claim here is that they found a octopus-looking thing that was extremely intelligent and almost human-like intelligence, and it had over 14 tentacles or arms or limbs or whatever you want to call it, and it would, like other octopus, they would wrap their prey up and inject them with the ink that stuns them, and then, of course, they eat them away. Well, this one, not only could he do that, but he could use some kind of projectile of, the fluid, and it actually attacked one of the scientists. And they cut, one of the other scientists cut off the limb, and it actually was able to move on its own, and strangled her in her sleep later on. And but the one thing that I found odd after people were describing this, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but this is a lot like the mythical creature Cthulhu, because they're talking about how this creature almost hypnotized. It was almost like they were hypnotizing one of the scientists telepathically. Now, granted, whether all this is real or not is up to you to decide. I don't know if it is. I'm on the fence on it. But that's just some more, one of the other claims. Now, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna be able to get, cover all the claims and whatnot. But I will do more videos covering each little topic as we go on. But next on our list here, they talk about another life form, which is a hairy, kind of crab-like creature that they found down there. And it ate off the bacteria, I do believe. But yeah, they've been finding a lot of very strange new life forms down there from what is being told, and on top of that, a flash frozen civilization, which is very fascinating, which everyone is speculating that this has got to be Atlantis, that we finally found it, because the claims are there's a frozen civilization that is just beneath the ice, and now that everything is melting, just as of what was it, a couple of weeks ago, we just had that July 12th, 2017, a 1 trillion ton iceberg fell off of Antarctica. So it's all melting and it's revealing more. And we're discovering more things as it starts to melt, and people are speculating that there's more going on in Antarctica than what we're being told right now, because there's been way too much interest in it since the late 1930s up until present day. And if it's such a frozen wasteland, yet again, I always ask, why is it so important of a interest to world leaders, religious leaders, scientists, political leaders? Why is it so important to them to go down here and find that, to find whatever it is they are trying to find, whether it be new technology, kind of like when we're over, in the Middle East, during Saddam's reign, when the claim was made that we found Archangel Gabriel's Ark, a supposed the Horn of Gabriel. That's what it is. The home of the Horn of Gabriel is said to be found near the Grand Mosque in Mecca. And what it seems like is going on here is all the these world powers are probably finding these old lost technology that was destructive at one point, and it was just lost or forgotten about, and we're rediscovering it again. And I think it's an arms race, or possibly, I mean, God only knows what is actually going on. But of course, that's what we're here to figure that out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this video short, and we'll continue on a different video. Let me know what your thoughts are on what's going on. Like and subscribe. Find us on YouTube and on Facebook, Kim Chat Radio. I'm Patrick Erickson. Thank you for listening.